Hey guys, I just wanted to start off by saying I am a huge fan of the Deathnote series, and I have been for almost 10 years now. At one point within my friend group when I was younger, I couldn't go to school without fearing that someone would spoil the anime for me when I was still watching it. So naturally, I was very excited when they announced that they were making this live action adaptation of Deathnote. I've been waiting for it to come out since the film was in pre-production, and I guess you could say I was counting down the days. This video might turn into a rant, but I just want to let everybody know that I in no way expected it to be verbatim to what the manga or the anime was, because clearly that's what an adaptation is. They make changes based off of what they see is fit, an artistic view, etc. So I rushed home after work as quickly as I could. I had a lot of homework to do, but I decided Death Note's more important. I think Ryuk would agree. So I sat down, got myself an apple. No, just kidding. And I started watching it with a very open mind. I was about 10 minutes into the film, and I was like, okay, this is different. This is definitely different. Extremely Americanized. By the way, if you have not seen or read Death Note, spoilers. Lots of spoilers. But I was trying to keep an open mind. I was like, okay, it's an adaptation, very Americanized. The first thing that really, really bothered me about it, though, is they changed characters' names. Light Turner, was Yagami too Japanese for us? Was that too foreign? Was that too much? Can Americans not handle that? So that kind of upset me a little bit. And the point where they lost me was all of a sudden Light just started making out with this girl named Mia, which people are trying to argue is Misa. Let me tell you, Mia is no Misa. First of all, in the actual anime, Light never so much as thinks about kissing a girl. Oh my goodness. And then all of a sudden we have freaking Light getting hot and heavy with this Mia chick. I was like, what is going on? Jesus, take the wheel, shield my eyes. I was like, what the heck? It was just really unnecessary. And that even made it more Americanized, in my opinion. I was like, can we really not have a film without there being, sex scenes in it, basically? The second thing that really threw me off is adaptations take a lot of creative direction, and it usually is going somewhere. It usually makes sense as to why they changed or added certain things. This was completely random. For those of you who haven't seen the anime and haven't read the manga, Light is just some average school kid, finds this frickin' book. A Shimigami shows up. Oh, that really pisses me off too, because they just kept calling it Death God. I was like, okay, I think we can handle their actual name, but I guess not. I guess not. So yeah, it shows up and he starts contemplating and figuring out how the books work. No, not in this movie. Immediately, just started chopping people's heads off, and I was like, okay. And in my opinion, there was no suspense. There was no build-up. It was just all of a sudden, Light turned serial killer just overnight, and I was like, I guess. I mean, okay. Yeah, and I was, honestly, I can say, extremely, extremely disappointed that There was no Rem or Sido or any of the other Shimigamis. There was no Misa. It just seemed like someone watched the anime films, or like barely watched them, maybe like Spark Note the anime films, and decided, yeah, I'm gonna make this a movie. We know in the past a lot of live action animes just go really, really wrong. I had high hopes for this one. By far the best part was Ryuk. Could have used a lot more of him. I will say though that I would recommend anyone that is not familiar with the anime or the manga, they would really like the adaptation, because they have no expectations of it. They have no background. So from that point of view, it was good. I had a friend that was watching it, and she had never heard of Deathnote before, and she thought it was awesome. She was like, oh yeah, this like gory rando guy is just murdering people with his hot girlfriend, and they're just running around like this psychopath like love triangle between him, the book, and the girl. And I thought it was great. And I was like, oh, I mean, I could see it from that perspective, okay. But it's kind of upsetting, because I feel like a lot of people are going to be seeing it pop up in their Netflix and say, oh, what's this? I'm going to watch it, and just get a really skewed perception of what Deathnote really is and how amazing it actually is. So, yeah. For me, when you get down to it, there was no purpose. There was no thematic, like, cause for them to remake this or to try to do an adaptation. They refused to make Light what he needed to be. Instead, they just threw in this love action sidekick, and there was no point. I ended up watching it to the end going, this is just a shell of Deathnote. There is no core. There is no point to it. There is nothing compelling. No real reason to watch it. Unless you just want it like a brief statement of what Deathnote might be from someone else's perspective. It's kind of sad when I have to say Ryuk is the best character, because even him, I feel like the writers weren't really sure what to do with him. They were just kind of like, is he evil? Is he funny? Just this demon lurking in the corner, Death God. We're too scared to put his actual name. So they just kind of stuck him in, put some funny bits, cut around him, and totally forgot about, you know, the other half of the gods, Rem and Sido, which I was really looking forward to. I honestly, there is nothing wrong with the Deathnote anime, and I think that they really should have taken notes and tried to carry as much of it over, you know, with artistic creation and changes as it is an adaptation, but that's not what they did. I also feel like Ryuk a lot of the times was in the shadows up until they really needed him. Up until Ryuk was like, oh, you know what you can do, Light? Other than that, he's just in the background. I was like, he doesn't have a storyline. What is going on? Another thing about this film, and this is the last thing that I'll say, otherwise I'll go into a 20-minute rant, is it was so random. Oh, it's raining. Anyway, so I seriously got whiplash from trying to watch this film. They were all over the place. They were like, oh, Light's thinking this way, and this random girlfriend's thinking the other way. What's gonna happen? Cues 80s music. There was no suspense. There was no build-up. Overall, if you're a fan of Deathnote, I don't suggest watching this unless you want to write, like, a critic review paper about it for a class. That's the only reason. If I went into the film not knowing anything about Death Note, I would have been like, okay, this is like an okay film. It wasn't really anything to brag about or talk about or suggest to watch, but I didn't hate it. But as a Death Note fan, I hated it. What was that, Reed?